Rare Gem Productions proudly presents Entrepreneurially Thinking. Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, changing the way you view new ventures and activating your entrepreneurial mindset, empowering you to create new pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast. I'm Christy Maxfield.
And I'm Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore. I lead our STEM initiative, our entrepreneurial inclusion initiative here for the region, and happy to be back in the studio.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
What's up?
I think we got some great stuff happening.
We do, of course.
And y'all need to be listening.
And we're all about elevating and celebrating the stories that don't get told.
And
so
supporting
of course
folks
we do.
out here. That's right. Exactly.
So thank you all for listening. And thank you to CET and BioSTL for their continued support. You can find out more about them and about us on our website and visit their websites and get all websited up and sign up for all the newsletters and make sure you know what's going on and when it's going on.
Absolutely. Y'all need to figure out what's going on in our ecosystem because there's a lot of stuff popping.
So get connected and help us spread the word. We've told you before, but one of our main goals for this year is to increase our listenership. We love you all. You mean a great deal to us, but we've been kind of stuck at about 1,000 plays and downloads for a month, for a while now. And we really want to move the dial on that because the more plays and downloads to have, more people we reach, the more people we reach, the more support we can get. You know, it all kind of works that way.
It all works together.
So if you could share and subscribe and comment and share ideas about guests and use the ETHINKSTL, ETHINK podcast and stay listening hashtags. And of course, you can find us on iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you find your favorite shows.
That's right. Wherever you are, we want to be.
Share the love.
Yeah, you go.
So what kind of love we got going on today?
I would say S happens, but life happens.
Sometimes we use expletives as adjectives.
Yes. You know, we get distracted, hit roadblocks, etc. It's what you do to overcome and respond to those obstacles that turns those things from a negative into a really great positive, right?
Of course.
Our guest today is the master at mentoring women and young ladies just how to overcome those life obstacles in a very positive light. Kesha Kent is an empowerment speaker, coach, and recruitment consultant extraordinaire. I love that. Also known as a serial networker. That is serious. Kesha is here today to tell us just how beneficial it can be to get out of your comfort zone and meet new people. Something that we always talk to you guys about. Get out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
So if you want to learn how to wake up, show up, and keep it moving, then stay listening.
BioSTL is a proud founding sponsor of the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. We want you to know about all the great things they are up to, including the BioSTL STEM, Entrepreneur Inclusion Initiative, and Fundamentals Program for early stage would-be entrepreneurs in the life sciences in St. Louis. You can learn more about all of BioSTL's programs by visiting biostl.org. And for your renewed and continuing support, BioSTL, we say thank you.
I am Kesha Kent, founder of MrsKeshSpeaks, and what entrepreneurially thinking means to me is making moves, making connections, building a community, taking things to the next level, not leaving anybody behind, but making space for everybody.
Joining us today is Kesha Kent, owner and founder of MrsKeshSpeaks, LLC. Kesha is wiggling all around, waving her arms in the air like she just don't care. Because she's a passionate speaker and MC, and she loves helping individuals understand how to sell themselves and the power of their relationships. Public speaking ain't a problem for her. No, in any way, shape, or form. And, you know, as a St. Louis native, a mom, a wife, an accomplished professional with over 17 years in the recruitment, human resources, hiring, staffing environment, she's now transforming herself and growing and expanding. And she's kind of just doing it all.
She's moving those walls.
So we're really glad that one of the stops on your journey today could be with us. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you both so much for having me. I've been excited about what you're doing, and I'm excited to be in this place.
You are excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited that you're
Super
excited.
excited.
Okay, we're excited.
Wow.
Yes.
So we met because I actually stalked you online. Y'all know I work with Ricky Henry at CET doing the Square One program. When we do the boot camp in the fall, the 10-week program, there's just between 30 and 50 speakers we need to round out that program. And one of the things I always try to incorporate in the curriculum is some talking about networking, because we tell people they got to build relationships and they have to create networks and who you know and how you know them and all that kind of stuff. And I saw that Kesha and I were both speaking at an event together, but we hadn't met. And I was like, well, if she's on that roster and I'm on that roster, then
that's a powerful
that
roster.
must be good people, right?
That is a powerful roster.
So I just started friending her and liking her and linking into her. And then I just kept sending her messages on all the platforms. I'm like, could you come speak? Could you come speak?
There you go.
And my response was yes.
Yes. And then you met Ramundo Davis as part of the Square One program.
Him.
And you guys have been working on some stuff together too, right?
We have.
So, we are going to get into all that. But Miss Cheryl likes to start at the beginning. And I already said she's a St. Louis native.
I'm getting comfortable. I'm putting my feet up.
She wants to know exactly the how, the who, what, where, when, how, all that. But, so St. Louis has been home.
Yeah.
And you did your studies, at least some of them in Chicago, which Cheryl calls home.
That's my home.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us, how are you transitioning from being in this recruiting and hiring role where that was your day gig, and now what are you doing?
So today, the only difference is I'm building the legacy for my family.
There you go.
For so long, I've been doing it for other people, putting in 65,000 hours a week. But you know what? When I thought about all of these things that I get to do and all these relationships that I'm meeting people, and I'm all over St. Louis as well as like Chicago area, South Carolina, I'm meeting all these people. And the thing that people are saying is, we want to be connected to you. And so I say this a lot. People are connected to you. You can work for a company, you can do this, you can do that, but they're going to work with you because of the way that you make them feel,
Absolutely.
that connectivity that you have. And so it started probably about 2012 when I kind of felt the itch and I kept saying, I need to do it. I need to do it.
And what did it look like in 2012? What did doing it look like?
Yeah. So in 2012, it started looking like me really putting out proposals to go and speak, really asking people.
So were you working for someone at that time?
I was.
Okay. And so what was the motivator about, I want to do this. I want to put myself out there on the platform.
I had seen so many women that are doing this that I really, really, really was attracted to, the energy and all those things that came. And I knew that I had something that was a gift, but I was keeping that gift bottled up because of the fear of stepping out. So I stay back in the shadows and say, well, yeah, I'll MC. And I was so good at MCing, people would say, well, we need you to come and say more than that. And it started off at our church at the St. Louis Dream Center. Okay. And I would do our women's brunches, and we did that every month. And so it started to be a thing. People started to look for me and what I was going to say and how I was going to move the crowd, because I like to move the crowd.
There you go. Well, that's that feel good. If you can connect and people see that you're authentic about what you're doing, it helps you become, I think, even more charged and which is kind of very, very cool. And when you talk about networking, I always tell people my favorite line is, if you're not networking, you ain't working. Okay.
I like that. And that's so real, because if you're not building your network, what are you building?
Nothing.
Because the number one way that you'll find your next whatever is through your network.
Exactly.
Through your network.
So you started this while working your day job, like so many entrepreneurs do. And we really encourage that, because that gives you the stability of the known and quantity, right? And the flexibility.
A paycheck.
Some healthcare benefits.
We've talked about balancing the risk portfolio, right?
As we tell people, do not step out on your good paying job.
Not until you have laid some groundwork.
That's right.
Lay some groundwork, I would say.
Exactly.
So you spent from 2012 until just this year laying groundwork. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
because I think because now that I have stalked you on social and LinkedIn and friended,
stalk me,
all that, I see her all over the place. It was just within the last few weeks that I believe you posted where you were like, and this is like the official, I have left my day job and I'm doing this full time.
Yes.
So that was somebody do the math for me. Is that like 7 years in the making?
7 years.
Yes, ma'am.
So
That's
for
my
all you
golden number,
impatient,
7.
for all those of you who are impatient, and they're like, I need to make the move today. Know that there are gifts that come with patience.
Plant the seeds.
And what were you doing in those 7 years?
So in the 7 years I've been with Dress for Success, so I was their recruitment and outreach coordinator. And because I get to go out and bring in organizations and meet all these great people from that space would say, okay, we have our professional women's group, and I would get the speakers to get them set up to come to the professional women's group. And all of those things, I'm telling you, just really putting it out there to say, okay, I'm looking for something that I can do in the evening or I can do on the weekend. You know, what kind of events are you hosting that I can MC? And a lot of those things I did pro bono to plant seeds, right? I did it here because I knew that it was going to be yes, that's my word of the year, strategic. And I had to be really strategic in every move that I make because people will sign you up all day long to speak for free.
Oh, yes. We know.
All day long.
Do we not know this? I think we know this really well.
We do. We're still working on the how do you get the honorarium thing. So we
That's
might
a new
need to
word
talk.
to me.
We need to talk to you about that.
And, you know, certain
help us.
organizations. Certain organizations
we will do it free all day long forever.
Right.
But there's also
that's a whole nother topic. We need to eat too. So
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But you planted seeds, and you planted enough seeds that, and clearly emceeing is a way to plant a seed, but that's not the goal. The goal is around empowerment.
Absolutely. The goal is around empowerment, building cohesive teams. So helping companies get together their teams and make them talk. So you're in this different department, but they're not communicating.
Right.
We need to get to a place where there's team building, there's workshops, there's training where we can come to the table and say, okay, here's how you build a relationship. Because if we're not planting the seeds and empowering them, equipping them, and developing them, what are we doing?
And for those companies that are not doing that, they're losing out to their competitors.
Absolutely. Because their clients are not being serviced if there's chaos, backbiting, gossip, and all this stuff within the team.
And not being innovative. Because when you don't have teams talking to each other, what are you missing out on, right?
The
Opportunities,
collaborations.
Opportunities to innovate. Serendipitous collisions, as our friend likes to talk about.
I love that.
Yes, those serendipitous collisions, man, are very powerful.
Definitely.
So you are doing that now? Is that what you're working with companies?
I'm doing it.
And it's a full-time being.
It's my full-time gig, and I'm also coaching individuals. So individuals that are in their careers or even entrepreneurs that say, I don't know how to get up there and say all that stuff. And I don't want to be a speaker, but I want to know how to, be able to talk and tell my story, have that impact, get that bottom line and get things moving. Okay, I can teach you that. And it's going to be really strategic though. And it may be tough, but I'm telling you, at the end of that process, you'll see that once we start to think different, everything else falls into place.
Wow.
Everything.
That
I
is
need you
very
to talk to my
entrepreneurial.
husband. We've been talking mindset, and he just looks at me,
Not your husband.
and I go, I know I can't coach you, but if you would just,
We can't coach them because they don't listen.
But you
They're
can
too
coach
close.
them.
Yes.
Yep, and you can coach mine, and we'll sign them up.
Great.
Well, we need a threesome.
That's a good
because
trade.
mine-
This is a wonderful trade.
Yes.
We'll just keep rotating them through.
It'll be the threesome here.
and then eventually we'll say, haven't you listened to her yet?
Exactly. Because you ain't listening to me.
Oh my goodness. So strategic is your word of the year. The other strategic thing I've seen you do as of late is you've become really involved in Venture Cafe. And I don't mean like casually involved.
No,
I mean like you drank the Kool-Aid.
I drank that Kool-Aid, but here's when I drank it.
It's not bad Kool-Aid, but I'm just saying, like,
it's sweet and it's a little sour.
Woo!
Now let me tell you about when I first started drinking it. So I grew up in the neighborhood first off, and so when I saw that they were doing this and IKEA, there was something that was in the inside of me, and I said, I need to be there. People need to be there. People that look like me need to be in there. They need to know that there's resources. And so the first time I went, Ramondo, he said, all right, I need you to get in there. I need you to get signed up to speak. So I did my presentation, standing room only.
Woohoo!
And then the next time I went in, I said, I want to sign folks up at that guest area. They said, well, that's a volunteer role. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. And I'm an ambassador, and I love it. I love Venture Cafe.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
So, and Raimundo, so tell me how, because by the end of her presentation at Square One, there had been a love connection. And by that, I mean Raimundo, who we've had come in to do a lot of the videotaping of our speakers.
Okay.
Like honed in on her like I have never seen him hone in on any speaker ever at all.
Let's put it out there.
And he was like, you, me, magic, let's go. And like, I wasn't part of it. Like after that, I was just like, I don't know what's happening here,
So
but they
not
are
just
making
Venture Cafe, but Square One.
Well, I mean, I think it's because,
great.
you know, if you know Raimundo Davis is also very involved in Venture Cafe. He's done a lot of their photography and videography there too. But I just was, like I said, I've spent years with Raimundo now recording things at Square One. I've never seen him react with the level of like, you are my person.
So you are bringing
He is my person.
And so what was that conversation? Because I was always curious. So and now I just need to know, like,
I'm telling you all of it.
Because he saw
giving you the
stuff.
scoop.
He saw, not that there was not stuff to see, but like, what did he see? What did he say you saw? And then like, what kind of magic have you been making together?
So he said, after he recorded me, he said, I've never been behind the camera with the speaker and wanted to come out and really engage in that speaker. And I was like, oh my
That
goodness.
is a testament. That's a testament.
That really,
dude.
oh my goodness.
Yes.
And then we sat down. So we plan to sit down here at the CIC to just kind of talk about all of that stuff. And his question was, oh, do you have a website? Let me see your website. How much you charging people to do that? I said, I don't have any of that stuff.
Because he does social media and video and all sorts of other stuff.
And he said, I want to help you.
Oh.
And I said, I want to help you too. So we help each other. I'm helping him get out of his box to tell people about that magnificent man that he is. He's so talented. He's so just welcoming and just really gives me a lot of knowledge. And he's teaching me all this stuff when it comes to SEO and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, what's that? But the connection is really, it was a godsend.
And really genuine.
Definitely.
I was going to say, and that's what I think is really, I didn't mean to cut you off. That's what's so good about this ecosystem here is you meet people, you connect with them, and people are more than willing to help you, to work with you. And it seems like you have an amazing connection there. That's helped you on your business and you're helping them on his.
That's exactly what has happened. And the thing about Venture Cafe as well, I've met so many people from day one that are connected. They're reaching out on LinkedIn. They're liking my posts. They're sharing my posts. They're telling people about what I do and they're making connections. And so that's the main thing that I want people to know that's at Venture Cafe. So if you haven't been, get there. It's free.
And I'm glad that you said that because a lot of Venture Cafe is here in St. Louis for a lot of our listeners that are not from St. Louis.
And it's actually all over the world. You can Google it and find out where the locations are. So it is not just, but it's really freaking cool here. It is other places.
But we have people who don't look like you, who say, I don't want to go there because there's not a lot of people that look like me. Hey, blow up that theory because you are here. You are there.
Yes. And you bring that.
Yes.
And no matter what the space looks like, I always have to remind myself wherever I am, I know that I'm there for a purpose. And so I don't care if nobody looks like me because then they're going to leave and say, I remember her.
There you go. And that's the thinking, I think, for a lot of people who are afraid to step out of their comfort zone. They have to come with that mentality.
Sometimes they feel like you need a buddy, but sometimes
the
that
wingman, right?
Sometimes that buddy gets in the
Venture
way.
Cafe wingman,
That buddy might get in the way.
Well,
sometimes, but it could be a good. It depends. It all depends on what you have going on.
So when we come back, we're going to talk more about mindset and all the other great things that you're doing to help people be their best selves.
Yes.
I'm so excited to be here, you all. Say it 50 more times.
Well, we're happy you are here.
CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, is a proud founding sponsor of this Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. We want you to know all about the great things they are up to. Square One offers 2 training options. Square One Ignite, a 4-week program created to help founders quick start their business model validation process. Or Square One Bootcamp, an in-depth 10-week, 50-hour program that combines formal instruction with hands-on learning, networking, and mentoring. To learn more about Square One Bootcamp or Square One Ignite, visit CETSTL.com. And for your renewed and continuing support, CET, we say thank you.
Hi, I'm Didier Chasson. I'm a program coordinator at Global Hack, and I am also a coder girl in the web development track. I wish it were called entrepreneurially thinking/doing. For me, it's all about the thinking and then translating it to doing. What I love about startups in general is just making things happen. When you see something is an issue in the community, knowing that there's a network that you have.
So Kesha, you've been talking a lot about mindset, right? And how that's a really important part, how you see yourself, how you help the folks that go through your training and other coaching programs see themselves. Have you always been this extrovert who attracts people, or is this something you've evolved into? And what does that look like?
I've always been a people magnet. I'll say that. I've always been really centered to the point where I can feel spirits around. I can feel people's energy. I've been that person. But there was a time that was about 7th grade where there was something that happened where I wasn't talking. And it was trauma. It was abuse in my family. It was an uproot of us. So we moved from St. Louis and moved to Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Out the blue in 7th grade.
Wow.
I was livid. I hated my mom and stepdad.
Yeah.
I hated everything that they did.
That's middle school time. Yeah.
When all my cousins,
yeah.
all my friends.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a big deal to me. And
Right.
so it was almost as if I started to rebel then. My grades tanked. I was all over the place fighting and kicking and screaming.
I cannot believe that at all.
Baby kid to the 10th power. That's all I'm going to say. But there was something that happened in about 10th grade. I had a history teacher. He gave me his notes and he told me, because I kept talking. He said, I'm going to give you my notes and you get up there and you do it. Ooh. Shut me down quick. He shut me down. But I got up there. Me being a little sassy, something I was, I got up there and I did great at it. And after class, he said, there's a gift there and I need you to unlock it. I need you to shut your mouth and I need you to focus. And I need you to get these grades. You know this work. You're good at it. I need you to do it.
That's an unbelievable teacher.
Wow. Yeah.
Because most teachers wouldn't take that tack. They would, go to the principal. You're going to be suspended. He saw something in you.
He did.
I think many times, many teachers have impacted kids that have been out of control.
Yeah.
You know, if we had more people like that. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yes.
So that turned you around.
It did. And it really got me back to a point where I had to take stuff out of my head. So I would hear people say, girls are supposed to be seen and not heard.
Oh my God.
And because I kept hearing that and hearing that and hearing that,
right.
it really, it kind of tore my spirit up to the point where I needed him. Because I didn't have my grandma. My grandma was in St. Louis. And so when we left, it was like they took all of that from me.
That support.
I didn't have her on me.
That support system.
She was my biggest cheerleader, my biggest support. She would come and visit, but it wasn't the same.
Right.
So it was as if he stepped in. Mr. Taylor was his name.
Oh, my goodness.
And he was amazing. And I will never forget how he cheered me on. And it was as if when he planted that seed, almost all the teachers got on board with that. So I stopped being
the
that
universe
person in
aligned,
trouble.
right? Because you saw yourself differently now too, and they consequently saw you differently.
Yes.
Wow. So how did that lead you to, HR doing HR?
Good question. And so after I graduated high school, I graduated early. So things started doing really good for me. So I graduated early in January. June, I went back to walk the line. I interviewed for a position at Allstate. Allstate had a call center in the Illinois area that was their human resource center call center. So who'd have thought? I started doing calls, taking the calls. People were calling in and they'd be getting set up for their benefits, new hire stuff, and all sorts of stuff. Well, I built a relationship with a girl who worked in the recruiting team. I didn't know she worked in recruiting, but we would sit down at lunch and have lunch. She was getting ready to go on maternity leave.
You mean talking to people?
I talk to everybody. It's all about networking.
Let me tell you, my husband, he always jokes and says, you will talk to a freaking rock.
Same here.
I said, if there's something to find out about from that rock, I certainly will.
If it's an interesting rock,
you'll miss
most definitely.
You'll miss it if you don't.
Absolutely.
And
you
then
have to
she
be
introduced
open
me to her manager. She introduced me to her manager.
Gosh.
She was going on maternity leave. Her manager said, they said that you're really good on the phones with the employees. How about you try out this recruiting piece for 6 weeks? Where after those 6 weeks, she didn't come back. And who gets into that recruiting role?
There you go.
Whoop.
Here
and
goes
that
the
opened
universe
door.
aligning again.
Exactly. And so the lady that was over the team, she was a director and she's had a bachelor's degree and I hadn't gone to school yet. She said, well, you know that you can get a bachelor's degree and you can do this. So she again planted another seed, went to school, got my degree. And then when I met another lady at the school, she said, well, you know, they're opening a master's program. You should do the master's program.
There you go.
All about relationships and really telling people the value that they brought to me and just thanking them. And I'm telling you, things just opened up.
So for those folks who don't talk to rocks, right? Who aren't naturally inquisitive, who can't strike up a conversation with a stranger, right? Well, clearly we're not those people. So I'm asking for a friend, right? How, when you're coaching them and you're saying, you know, you've gotta be inquisitive. You've gotta ask, like, because everybody's got a story, right?
Absolutely.
And you got to be a little vulnerable and you got to share a little of your story, right?
Absolutely.
And you got to go on faith that sometimes you just don't know why you're supposed to be talking to somebody. You're just supposed to be talking to somebody.
Yes. And when you operate as your authentic self,
Yes.
who you truly are, whether you're quirky, whether you have a funny laugh or you walk funny, whatever it is, when you operate as your authentic self and you allow that person to be who they are, things can happen.
Absolutely.
So how do you, like, what's your advice to those folks who are like, I'm not comfortable being my authentic self. That scares the crap out of me, right? And I don't want people to see me. I don't want to be the center of attention, or I don't want to network. I don't like small talk.
You don't want a job. You don't
I've
want
heard it all. Right?
So you know what? Find the
So
common
how do you
ground.
help them
Find the common ground. Find something that you're interested in. I remember when I worked in career services and there was a department of folks already there when I got there. Some of them have been there 7 and 10 and 15 years, a long time. So here I come in, I'm the outsider. But what did I have to do? I needed to go through and build individual relationships with those people. So I would go in and sometimes have a conversation. Good morning. How was your weekend? Oh, what did you do this weekend? Oh, your daughter did what? Oh, my daughter does the same thing, or my niece does the same thing, and keep bringing it back up. So next time when you see them, how's she getting with ice skating? Oh, we just did ice skating last weekend. I'm telling you, it was the worst. Whatever it is, find that common ground, but let people know that you remember them. Chrissy, I remember you, that you reached out to me on LinkedIn and how it made me feel. It made me feel like $1,000,000 that you would say, you're speaking somewhere and I'm speaking there too. I would love for you to, those were your words. You didn't say, well, maybe you might, maybe you might not. You knew that that's what you wanted. And then I took that. So that, I remember
entrust what other people
like.
see in you as well.
Exactly.
Because you may not see it in yourself.
You may not see it, but trust it, but also be willing to just go the extra mile and follow up. So if you're meeting people and you're out at a networking event, I always say within those 48 hours, you need to send an email back to them and say, here's what I liked about you, Cheryl. I like that jacket that you had on. Tell me again where you got that jacket from. Simple things.
You are talking about, for people who are not in sales, this is exactly what salespeople are. Literally, if you are an excellent salesperson, this is what you do.
That's right.
But the thing about it all, and I think you hit the nail on the head, is it really is about being authentic.
Yes.
Authentic.
None of it's meant to be just to collect people to collect people.
No,
it's not rocket
and that's what I'm
science.
saying. A really good salesperson is very authentic in how they build relationships because they remember you. Like you're talking about. I had a woman who was like 4 feet nothing, but this woman could. I mean, she knew when she was calling on physicians' offices. She knew the third person in line, their kids, what they were doing. And she was like the salesperson off the chart. You can do that personally, like you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And people should do. It's almost like the art of conversation has gone.
That is it. It's all relational. And when we keep it in our minds and in our hearts that it's all relational, then we can reveal what's supposed to come out of it. But we need to make sure that we're allowing people to be relevant.
Yes.
And sometimes what happens is when you meet people, they may not follow up with you right away. And it's okay. You send an email, they don't respond, send another one. Send a text message, send an email. If you really want that relationship, how far are you willing to go to get that relationship?
Before you get charged with stalking.
Come on.
Well, you know. Then you'll know where the border is.
But they'll say, and they may say, you know what, Chrissy, I'm just not interested.
And that's okay. And then you move on.
Keep it moving.
So, your girl, I know we have so much to say. I think I've cut her off 3 times now. I'm actually surprised she let me. So, but your girls, you got 3 girls.
Yeah.
So, and how old are they?
I take them with me everywhere I go so that they can see it, especially my 11-year-old. So she goes to Venture Cafe sometimes when I'm presenting. So I have an 11-year-old, a 19-year-old,
No, you don't
and
even-
a 22-year-old.
No way.
Yes. So I started early. I'm telling you.
God bless you.
I was
Because
a
now you got all
fast,
sorts
hot
of free
mess, though, at
time.
the time.
But think of all the time you're going to have now to do you.
Exactly.
And see, that's really, I'm so comfortable today because they are up in age and
Yeah.
they're so helpful. My middle daughter, Kaya, she has a full ride scholarship to Missouri S&T.
Woo! That's my husband's
That-
alma mater.
That baby is going to do civil
yes.
engineering, but I can say, Kaya, here are my notes. Can you put that into a presentation for me? She's like, bam.
There you go.
Even Alyssa, my 11-year-old, can do the same thing when it comes to Google Docs and all that
But
stuff.
see, Alyssa knows and all of them know like Instagram. They can
They
they
do.
hit you up on all that stuff.
But they're also seeing mom in places
In
where
action.
she is being fully present, right? And I
Right.
think of a young black woman becoming a
Yes.
civil engineer
Yes.
at Missouri S&T,
Yes.
which is a great school, but is also very male.
It is very
and very
male.
pale.
Absolutely.
And she's going into an industry that's male and pale.
Yeah.
And she needs that structure.
And that,
she needs that
strength
power.
and that
Yes.
ability
That's
to
right.
network and that ability to bring her authentic
Yes.
self with all of her super smarts.
She's going to lead a lot of clubs there. I can see it.
Ooh.
I'm
Yeah.
speaking it out there.
There
right.
you go. And you know, with young people now, because I have one, they don't have that art of conversing anymore because of the freaking phone and texting, right?
Tell us how you really feel.
Okay. I have a boy, so they can be in the same room and texting each other, which is beyond
same room?
my capability of understanding
that I don't
stuff
get.
like that. Yeah, I mean, and it's not just them. I mean, they will do that in groups like that. So
Right.
I feel
So
that
they need to spend some quality time with Keisha.
well, it's
Phones
not
down,
just it's not
yes.
just them. I'm seeing because through a number of friends, our kids are losing the art of how to conversate. And that's important when you talk about jobs and you talk about,
It is.
interviews and things like that. They don't know, or, where we take for granted, we all who are,
I'm
we
thinking,
get
I just need to come over your house more often.
Right.
That's a good point, though.
They're
I just
losing that art.
I just had a career day over at UMSL for Brittany Woods Middle School, and this is my 5th year being their keynote speaker. It started when Kaya was an 8th grader, and so the thing that I get to teach them, phones down. Take some notes and listen up.
Absolutely.
Because if they don't start at that time when they're about 8th grade, come high school in their juniors, they can get it, but it's still kind of late when you
Right.
get to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to teach them, and I get to work with other schools as well, middle schools, high schoolers, teaching them about the art of what they bring to the table.
Right.
But getting out in the summertime, filling out some jobs, cutting some grass, doing these things at church, volunteering, finding ways that they can get connected
Absolutely.
and build up what they want to start dreaming.
Because you never know, just like what you talked about. You could be talking to somebody and you don't know that this person can be the next step for you.
That's it.
Could be that internship.
That's it.
Could be that, step that helped you get into college that you don't even know. And you should
Could be their
look
co-founder.
at, there you go.
Talk
There
about
you go.
entrepreneurs.
If you ain't talking, you don't know.
That's right.
That's right. Go back to if you ain't networking, you ain't working.
So you clearly do a lot in the community, helping
Yes.
young people as well as some of us older folks
Yes.
understand the importance of communicating,
Yes.
networking. But who are your target clients? So if somebody's listening, they're like, I want that kind of energy
At
for
my
my
company.
team, at my company. Who are you looking to do business
So
with?
small to medium-sized companies would be amazing.
So like 100 employees or less?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Or so I'm not turning my nose down to Ameren that says they need somebody to train. their
Understood.
team. No, ma'am.
Understood.
I'm not
There you
turning
go.
that
So
down.
we could do
So I'm gonna
teams
take that
within
back
long-
and say any employer who needs to build teams, any individuals who are needing to learn how to sell themselves and find their authentic voice, I can help with that. But then on the other piece, when it comes to the high school and middle schools, to be able to give them empowerment. So if your staff needs a checkup from the neck up.
Okay.
What is that when you with the car when you give them a jump? Get that
Right.
jump. No, not the jump. When you're laying down and yes, what's that? The thing that they give.
You need a little electrical like jolt
When they need that jolt
to your
I can-
battery or to your heart.
Yes.
Okay.
So I can come in with that jolt and give them the pieces that they need to really build
Yep.
teams so that their bottom line flourishes.
Absolutely.
Companies are in business to make money.
That's right.
We're not there to babysit. We shouldn't have all these meetings about you not liking so-and-so and all that stuff is
so you
such
coming
a
out
waste
of
of
HR,
time.
right?
I'm HR all day long, and so I'm always like, what?
But it's about
Do your
being your
job.
best self so that you can be your best self for the company, be your best self for you.
Absolutely.
And like you talked about, if you're getting teams together to talk, you're having them be innovative within their own system.
That's right.
Having them think differently. That's all about entrepreneurial.
That's a good point. And so I'm also training with AIM Employers Association.
Great.
And so I just held their HR roundtable, and some of the feedback that I got was amazing. One lady said that this has been the most energy, most amazing, most up and moving workshop that they've had, and everything that she got, she was able to take it back to her team and see some impact. So those are the things that I need to hear. I want to make that impact and then be willing to say, okay, let's tweak it
and
if
get
we
a
need to
check
tweak it.
for it.
Pay me.
So if people want to find you so they can book you and pay you, where should they look?
So the number one, thank you, Ramondo Davis. You can find me at MrsKeshSpeaks.com. MrsKesh Speaks.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm just Kesha Kent, BA Bachelor's and MAOL Masters of Organizational Leadership.
There you go.
Wonderful. So we hope everybody's reaching out and making new
Reach out,
connections.
you all.
What's your website again?
MrsKeshSpeaks.com.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Thank you for making time to be with us
Thank you
today.
all for
Thank
having me.
you.
This has been amazing.
It's fun.
Woo.
I love it.
Thank you all.
Changing the way you view new ventures, unlocking your creativity and innovation, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's Entrepreneurially Thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit entrepreneuriallythinking.com to listen to all your favorite episodes and learn more about our guests, hosts, and sponsors. Feeling inspired? Be sure to share your thoughts, questions, and stories in the comments section. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. The best way to show love is to share and subscribe. Let everybody know that you're entrepreneurially thinking.